On this live stream, we are going to be hanging out. We are going to talk about movie news. We're going to take a look back at 2017, look forward to 2018, hang out, have some Q&A. It's just going to be a fun night. Happy New Year. We're getting started right now. Welcome back to Jeffito's movie blog. Whoa, hey, get back there. You gotta love technical issues. Anyway, welcome back to Jeffito's movie blog. I'm Jeff Malicki, and if you love movies as much as I do, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. I bring you movie news, movie reviews, trailer reaction videos, box office predictions. I play along with Movie Trivia Schmodown, and coming soon in 2018, I will be doing a weekly live show very similar to this one. So make sure that you hit that subscribe button, and then click that little bell notification icon so that you don't miss anything. And let me pop up the chat. There we go. Alright, so let's run down how today's show is going to work. We are going to start by taking a look back at 2017, both in the world of movies, talk about the best movies, the worst movies, most disappointing movies, but also in terms of my channel, where I started the year, where I'm ending the year, all that kind of good stuff. Then I've got a couple of stories from the world of movie news that I want to dive deeper into that I have not had a chance to discuss yet here on my channel. Then I'm going to open it up for Q&A, hangout, whatever. The stream could last an hour, it could last all the way to midnight or after. Depends on how many people show up and how much fun we're having. My night is wide open, so let's get the thing started. After the hangout, I'll tell you how to submit topics for a future live show, ways to support my channel, all that kind of good stuff. It's going to be a fun night. So let's go ahead and get started. There's already 4 people watching. Hello, everybody out there. That is fantastic. Happy New Year. Hope your New Year is going well. Concert Addict. For the Q&A, what is the best book-to-movie adaptation of 2017? I will have to think about that, actually. None of this really coming up at the top of my head. Benjamin Segman, how's life? Life is wonderful, busy working, glad that I have the night off. Happy New Year, Sir Deadpool. Yeah, you guys hang out in the chat, talk with each other. Hang out. We are just going to have a lot of fun here tonight. I'm really looking forward to it. Let's go ahead and take a look back at 2017. Year was very up and down, had some fantastic movies, had a lot of bad movies. Most of the year, though, was kind of in the middle. Just very forgettable, very disappointing, very meh. So, some of the best movies of the year. I did have my top 10 best movies of the year video that I put up the other day. I mean, stuff like Logan, Wind River, Baby Driver, Wonder Woman, Thor Ragnarok. I mean, there were a lot of great movies, but there were also so many disappointments. Some people, The Last Jedi is very disappointing. We'll get into that later on in the show as well. But this was a hell of a year. Tell me, we got 6 people watching here. What are some of your favorite movies of the year? I mean, I mentioned a couple, like Logan and Baby Driver and other movies that were in my top 10. Ben Segman, best movie ever, The Emoji Movie. No, that is actually the worst movie of the year and possibly the worst movie of all time. Sir Deadpool says, I wish that they didn't save all the good stuff for the end of the year. That's how they typically do things. A lot of times the kind of back end of the year, for Oscar nominations, so you'll get like all these small limited releases, which I have not seen any of them, I don't think, that will be released in, maybe a handful of theaters or just in New York and LA and a few other select cities, at the end of the year, and then they'll open wide in like January and February leading up to the Oscars and award season and everything like that, as I almost knock over my mic. That happens every year. I understand why they do it, but you're right. It would be nice if they kind of spread everything out, among the other 11 months of the year and not just cram everything into December. Yeah, there were a lot of great movies. If you saw my top 10 video, you know that at the top of my list, I could not pick a singular number one best movie of the year. I actually had a tie. I kept flipping back and forth ever since I saw the two movies, both Logan and Baby Driver. And depending on when you ask me what kind of mood I'm in, what day of the week it is, will determine my answer. Is Logan the better movie, or is Baby Driver the better movie? Really hard to say that one movie is better than the other. They are both fantastic films. If you guys have not seen them, go ahead and check them out. They are fantastic. And I probably should have ranked Wind River a little higher than I did on my list. I think I had it at number 7, if I remember right. But Wind River is a fantastically underrated or underviewed film that not a lot of people have been talking about, not a lot of people have seen, but in my mind, it is one of the best movies of the year. Ben Segman says, I really loved Lego Batman the first time, but after thinking about it a bit, the potty humor and the unearned heartstring tugs wore off, and it was a little forgettable. Lego Ninjago movie was okay. I actually have not seen Lego Ninjago yet, although I have heard that it is the worst of the 3 Lego movies so far. I heard that it's the weakest. No, I'm not familiar with Ninjago, but obviously I've not seen this film yet, but it is, so I hear, the weakest of the 3 films so far in that franchise. So yeah, taking a look back at 2017 for me personally, it was kind of funny because in my Facebook feed, the On This Day app feature, whatever, on Facebook, popped up a video that I did a year ago where I talked about the top films of 2016. And taking a look at my set, that was before I had the curtains and before I had the green screen and everything. So it was just the Rogue One poster was behind me and my DVD collection, Blu-ray collection, and I still had not developed a sense of confidence on camera. Not that I'm hugely confident yet either, but it's amazing that a year ago I was still looking down and reading off my laptop, and my editing skills were horrible. It was kind of fun to watch, actually, to see how much that I've grown in 2017. I started the year with 110 subscribers, I believe, and right now, if I pull up my live subscriber count, we are at 319 subs. I would love to get to 325 by the time we hit midnight here in a few hours. I would love to start the year with 325. That is my goal. Not sure if I'm going to be able to reach that or not, but that is a goal that I set when I hit 300 subscribers a week or two ago, whenever that was, middle of December. When I hit 300 subs, I said to myself that I wanted to enter 2018 with 325. And I'm close. If I hit 325 tonight, that would be fantastic. If I fall a little bit short, I'm not going to get too worked up about it because I'm close enough. I've got a lot of big plans for 2018, and I'm really looking forward to everything that is to come. This year has been... Sir Deadpool says, my young Jeffito is all grown up. Maybe physically and age-wise and whatever, but trust me, emotionally, I'm still a 12-year-old. Ben Segman, hashtag road to 1 million. Yeah, that would be nice. That's not going to happen anytime soon, but that is the dream, obviously. But this year has been really fraught with a lot of challenges on my channel as well, between tech issues and computer issues and also quite a bit of depression. And lack of self-confidence, and just a lot of negative thoughts that really it wasn't conducive to doing videos every week or, a couple times a week. And I think that really hurt my growth. You know, I'm not going to complain because going from 110 a year ago to 319 now, that is fantastic. That's more growth than I had ever anticipated. I think and love each and every one of you who have subscribed and who tune in and watch every single one of my videos. But that lack of consistency, I think, really hurt. And that is one of the resolutions that I have personally, to be more consistent on the channel, to really do my best to make this channel all that I know it can be. You know, we're almost at 325. I want to hit 1,000 subscribers by my 2-year anniversary on May 8th. That is my goal. I'm putting it out there for you guys that are watching live, those of you that are watching on the replay. I want to hit 1,000 subscribers, if not before May 8th, by May 8th, my 2-year anniversary here on YouTube. I want to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark. And I really do think that is a reasonable and attainable goal, especially because I am really challenging myself and pushing forward to be more consistent. Much more consistent than I have been this past year. You know, again, between the computer issues and the tech issues and, you know, quite frankly, a lot of depression. But things are looking up. Gotta fight my way through it. Things are looking up personally, professionally. So, you know, with any luck, 2018 is going to be a great year. Ben Sigmund says, come on, you got this. You're going to be the next Jeremy Johns, and you'll be on Collider, and you will be amazing. Yeah, that really is the dream. You know, I would love to be able to do this full time and turn this into my career. You know, Jeremy, Chris Stuckman, John Campia, the gang over at Collider, Schmoes Know, those guys are definitely inspirations. I mean, even if you take a look at this set is basically a ripoff of the early days of AMC Movie Talk, back when they broadcast from the AMC Burbank 16. You know, and I readily admit that that is a huge influence, and that will be a huge inspiration for the live show that this is kind of a pilot episode of, but that I'm going to be starting here in the new year. But yeah, it's been, 2017 was a difficult year for a lot of reasons, but things are definitely looking up for 2018, and I cannot wait. I am so excited. It is also a flip-flop of Sean Chandler's old background. I believe Sean did this all on green screen with his background by having poster board just stapled to his wall. These are actual curtains. Now, this is like an actual physical set. But yeah, it is pretty cool. But anyway, going back to what I was saying, 2017 was very challenging. And that lack of consistency, I think, really hurt my potential, where I could have been at this point right now. But going forward, I know that I will be stronger. Sir Deadpool asks, will there be more collabs in 2018? Absolutely. I have already reached out to Ryan O'Toole. We're going to be doing a couple of collabs. My buddy Russell Howell from Howell's Hollywood Reviews we're going to be doing a lot of stuff. Justin Watches Movies, I'm going to have him on my channel. I was actually on his channel earlier in the month. Philip Michelson says that you should stream video games. I do not play video games. I don't have a console. I don't have a gaming PC. My idea of video games is the old school Nintendo, the old 8-bit NES, you know, Super Mario Brothers, Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, that kind of stuff. I do not stream video games. That's not what this channel is about. But thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in, man. I definitely appreciate that. Yeah, I'm just not a gamer, unfortunately. Let's go ahead and move on to movie news. This one showed up in my Twitter feed. I got a tweet about it. earlier this afternoon while I was at work, and that is big news in terms of the box office. Jumanji is on pace to beat The Last Jedi this weekend. 67 million to 65 million for the 4-day weekend. Jumanji had a 39% jump in its box office, which is amazing. I knew it was going to do well. A lot of people were predicting that it may battle it out for The Last Jedi to take the number 1 spot, but the fact that it actually is turning out that way is a huge shock to me. And I think to a lot of people that The Last Jedi dropped as much as it did. It's still doing quite well. I mean, $65 million in its 3rd weekend is nothing to sneeze at. But the fact that Jumanji was able to beat it in its 2nd weekend, have a 39% jump, and looks like it's going to beat The Last Jedi by over $2 million this weekend, that is unbelievable in my mind. And a lot of that may have to do with the divisiveness of The Last Jedi. A lot of Star Wars fans are not happy with The Last Jedi and the direction that they took the story and just the movie overall. For me, I totally get that. I was the same way after my first time viewing it. In fact, if you watch my initial thoughts video, I really had a hard time processing it and coming to terms with what happened in the movie. I'm not going to get into spoilers here in this live stream, but all my expectations and what I thought was going to happen, what I wanted to have happen, a lot of that, they went completely the other way, and that's really turning off a lot of fans. On my 2nd viewing and my 3rd viewing, I have come to appreciate those changes in direction. It's really risky, but most of the risks, I think, are going to pay off. And I've seen the movie 3 times now, and it's coming to the point where it is my number 5 Star Wars movie. I still think The Force Awakens is still the better film. Force Awakens is more fun. Force Awakens feels more like a Star Wars movie, and that could be because I know a lot of people think it's a rehash of the original Star Wars film, A New Hope, and I'll talk about that in a little bit here as well. But to me, The Last Jedi is definitely in the top 5 Star Wars films. In fact, I was going to do a ranking video, just haven't gotten around to it because of working so much over the holidays and with Star Wars opening up at the theater and everything else. But if I were to rank the 10 theatrically released Star Wars films, at the very bottom would be the Clone Wars movie, the animated pilot episode to the Clone Wars series. That is absolute garbage. And it is amazing that the Clone Wars TV series was able to become as great as that is. I really enjoyed that, but the film itself is absolute garbage. I hated Ahsoka when she was introduced in the movie, but now she's one of my favorite characters in Star Wars canon. The Clone Wars cartoon is definitely at the very bottom. Above that, I would put Attack of the Clones, Star Wars Episode 2. A lot of people have The Phantom Menace as the worst live-action movie. To me, Attack of the Clones is worse. Just between the cheesy dialogue, the forced romance, creepy stalker Anakin, played by Hayden Christensen, bad green screen CGI. To me, Episode 2 is the worst live-action movie. And then just above that is The Phantom Menace. Sometimes they kind of flip-flop as far as the worst live-action movie for me. But The Phantom Menace at least has potential in there. There was... in my mind... Let me back up once. Prior to 1999, I had wanted the prequels to go a different direction than what they ultimately did. And in hindsight, I think it would have worked a lot better if what we got in episode 1 would have been like a 15-20 minute prologue. Okay? So condense episode 1 down into 15 or 20 minutes prologue. And then the rest of episode 1 would basically be most of the story that we got in episode 2. And then, in my hypothetical situation, my hypothetical episode 2 would be the Clone Wars. What happened in the Clone Wars cartoon series. Kind of condense that down into a 2-hour movie, 2 hours, 20 minutes, whatever. And then episode 3, I would have loved to see Anakin turn earlier in the film rather than in the last 15, 20 minutes, whatever it was, because I wanted to see more of Vader hunting down and destroying all the Jedi, which we didn't get at all in Revenge of the Sith, and we kind of got that badassness at the very end of Rogue One, but I wanted to see more of that. I think we all wanted to see more of that. And so going back to my ranking, above Phantom Menace by quite a significant margin would be Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. It's easily the best of the prequels, in my mind. Definitely has potential. Definitely the most rewatchable of the prequels. But still has quite a few of the same problems that the prequels have. After that, I would put Rogue One, which is... No, we're jumping up quite a bit here. Princess Peach in the chat room, how you doing? So, Rogue One is quite a ways up above Revenge of the Sith. I really liked that it told a different angle in the Star Wars universe. It didn't focus on the Jedi and the Sith and lightsabers or whatever. It was a war movie. It was an espionage movie trying to get the Death Star plans. I really dug that. And of course, the last 10 minutes of that film are absolutely fantastic. And so after Rogue One, that's where I would put The Last Jedi. I think The Last Jedi is a great film. I have come to appreciate the change in direction and where they're going with their storytelling on subsequent viewings. Again, this is just my opinion. If you don't like The Last Jedi, you are more entitled to your opinion. I happen to really like it. I've had people contact me on Twitter and message me on Facebook and everything, just railing me out for the fact that I happen to like it and saying, "Oh no, you're wrong, it's a bad movie, blah blah blah." No, I happen to like it. You don't. That's great. All film is subjective, and I happen to like Last Jedi. If you don't, I'm sorry. Hopefully Episode 9 will do it for you, and if not, just stick to the original trilogy, or the first 6 films, or the first 6 films plus Rogue One, whatever. Again, I happen to like The Last Jedi. A lot of people don't. It's a very divisive film, and understandably so. Again, when I first saw it, if you go back and watch my initial thoughts reaction to The Last Jedi, I was really conflicted and struggling to go and process and deconstruct and come to terms with what they did in that film, because it was so different from what anybody had anticipated. Let me just pop into the chat room here real quick. Ike Alvarez, thoughts on the first look of Bumblebee? I actually have not seen the first look of Bumblebee yet. I was at work all day and then was getting ready for this live stream, so I actually have not seen that. But I definitely will check that out soon, and maybe I'll do a video for that. Good to see you here, Ike, and thank you for being a Patreon this year. Greatly appreciate that. Philip Michelson asks, will this be going till midnight? I'm not planning on it, but depending on how how many people show up, and depending on how much fun we're having, it certainly could go till midnight or after. I'm leaving that door open. Sue Deadpool says, I want to watch the ball drop with Jeffito. Again, same thing. I'm not planning on going till midnight, but, I may take a break and start this up later on in the evening, if that. Princess Peach says, Jeff all night. Again, same thing. I'm not planning on going till midnight. I'm only planning on doing this for maybe 2 hours tops. But, depending on how many people show up and how much fun we're having, maybe we can. Sue Deadpool says you should get some special guests for these live streams. Yes, I was going to talk about that in a little bit, but since you brought that up, for my weekly live show that I'm going to be doing every week, I definitely want to bring in guests. I'm just trying to figure out the technical side of things, to see how that's possible and everything else. I hope to be doing some testing later on this week with a couple friends, to see if it's even feasible, if it looks good, whatever. But that's definitely plans. I want to have, at least one other person per episode, maybe a 2 or 3 person panel of guests, just to talk about movies. Because again, I want to focus and take inspiration for this live show to be from Collider Movie Talk or the John Campea Show, stuff like that. Really deep dive and get different opinions, and also be interactive with you, the fans and the viewers, as well. But going back to my Star Wars ranking, we're up to The Last Jedi. After The Last Jedi, I would put at number 4, I would put The Force Awakens, which is a fantastic film. The more I watch it, the more I really appreciate that. A lot of people think that The Force Awakens is a rehash of A New Hope, just kind of like a reboot or a ripoff or whatever. And their point is valid. I kind of see where they're going. But I also think that The Force Awakens is different enough. And I do think that you did kind of have to do a soft reboot of Star Wars, because you were coming off of the prequels, which a lot of people hate. I don't necessarily hate the prequels, but they are not my favorite Star Wars by any means. I like the premise of the prequels. I like the era of the prequels. I like the overall story of the prequels. It's just George Lucas botched the George Lucas botched the execution of the prequels really bad. Fast forward to 2015 and The Force Awakens, you were coming off the prequels, and I think it was kind of smart for them to do a soft reboot of Star Wars and say, okay, these are the things that you loved about Star Wars. Let's put that back and take that back and really reboot, but also move it into a different direction. And I think that's what a lot of people dislike about The Last Jedi. A lot of people are complaining that The Force Awakens was too much like A New Hope, but and they wanted Star Wars to take risks. They wanted something different. Then all of a sudden you get The Last Jedi, and it is something different, and people are upset with being different. You can't have it both ways. It's like, what do you want? You were complaining that The Force Awakens was too much like A New Hope. And then, so Disney and Lucasfilm and whoever heard that criticism, and they did something completely different. And, now the fan reaction is, oh no, it's too different. I don't like it. I don't like what you did. It's too different. It doesn't feel like Star Wars. Whatever. You can't have it both ways in my mind. Pick one or the other. For me, I happen to love them both for different reasons. But yeah, so Last Jedi is number 5 on my list. Force Awakens is number 4. And then we'll go into the classic Holy Trilogy, which, is held up, best 3 movies ever in my mind. The weakest of which is Return of the Jedi, which, for the longest time growing up, Return of the Jedi was my favorite film. I was 7 years old back in 1983. I loved playing with the action figures. I was just the right age to be totally immersed in that. And I loved Return of the Jedi, from the minute I saw it. Return of the Jedi is still a great film. It's just, as I've gotten older, I've come to recognize some of its weaknesses. And so it is the weakest of the original trilogy. I'm going to finish up my ranking and then I'll jump back into the chat room, guys. After Return of the Jedi, I would put the original film, A New Hope, which is fantastic. Really did a lot of great world building and setting up the galaxy far, far away. Classic film. And then, of course, at number 1 is Empire Strikes Back, which is the best movie of all time. Not just Star Wars movie, but it is one of the greatest films ever made, ever by anybody. So that's my ranking. I may still do a proper video ranking all 10 Star Wars films. I had wanted to get that out shortly after The Last Jedi, but again, because I've been working so much at the theater and scheduling and kind of feeling a little bit under the weather, I've not felt 100% since before Star Wars. Just lack of energy and a little bit of a sore throat and everything. Still not feeling quite 100%. So I wanted to get that up, but I haven't yet. But there you go. That's my ranking. I may still do a proper video ranking all 10 Star Wars films, but if not, just go back the last 5 minutes or so in this live stream, and there you go. Let's head into the chat room here, as my leg is cramping up. Sir Deadpool says, would love to see you make a short film, Jeff. That would be dope. Funny story. I don't know if you know this, but I actually went to film school for 2 years, right out of high school. I went to UWM film school, and it didn't work out for a myriad of reasons. I've kind of talked about this before in previous videos, and previous Q&As, previous live streams. Didn't really work out for a number of reasons. That isn't really something that interests me anymore. But, it was something that I was pursuing once upon a time. Let's see. Philip Michelson says, Princess Peach, we don't have Arby's in my country. Princess Peach replies, no Arby's, I'd kill myself immediately. Iker Alvarez, thoughts on Bumblebee First Look? Again, I mentioned this earlier while I was in the middle of my Star Wars ranking. I have not seen the Bumblebee First Look yet. I was at work all day, and I just have not had time to see that. If you're asking my thoughts overall on the Bumblebee movie, after the disappointment of the last several Transformers movies, I'm not really excited for it. I don't see why they're doing a Bumblebee movie. I just wish that the Transformers franchise would die, and then maybe in 5 or 7 years just reboot the entire freaking thing. I'm not a fan of the current Transformers franchise that much. For me, when I think of Transformers, I think of the classic old school 1980s cartoon that I grew up with. That's Transformers in my mind. I know that the current Michael Bay films do have a lot of fans. They have made quite a bit of money. Obviously, that's why they keep making them. And Philip Michelson here in the chat room says, no Michael Bay directing, so I'm hopeful. That is the one positive, that it is not being directed by Michael Bay. Still, maybe my tune will change after I see the first look, after I see the first trailer, whatever. As it stands right now, I just cannot get excited about Bumblebee. I'm sorry. Iker, I know that you're in the perfect age range to be a fan of these Transformers movies. More power to you if you like them. I don't. I'm not really a fan. But hopefully it turns out to be a good film. And also, Philip Michelson says Haley Steinfeld is a cutie pie. You are not wrong. I fell in love with her in The Edge of 17, which was one of my favorite movies of last year. Actually, did I rank that? I'm trying to think if I put that in my best films of 2016 video last year. I don't know if I did or not. But The Edge of 17 is fantastic. I absolutely love that film. Haley Steinfeld is a cutie pie. She is a standout. I really love that movie. If you've not checked out The Edge of 17, definitely do so because that is a great film. Sue Deadpool asks, is there any chance that we're going to get a most anticipated films of 2018 video from you? Yes. Again, that's something that I had wanted to do by tonight. I've just been so busy and, again, not feeling 100%. And just ran out of time to do that, but I will be doing that here in the coming week. Definitely by Wednesday, that will be up, if not before. Along with my top 5 worst movies of 2017 video and my top most disappointing movies of 2017 video. Sir Deadpool says, Jeff, you've been a busy bumblebee. Oh, yes, I have. I actually switched with a coworker, so I had Friday off, which was greatly appreciated just because I have been working so much. But I'm not complaining because the paycheck is going to be nice. The paycheck is definitely going to be nice, but yeah, I've definitely been working a lot here over the holidays and with Star Wars month and everything else. But keeps me busy, keeps me out of trouble. I do wish that I had a little bit more of a work-life balance so I could do more videos and see more movies. Which, speaking of that, the only movie that is showing at my theater right now that I've seen is Star Wars. We have like 9 or 10 other movies that I want to see, that I want to do reviews of, that I should have had reviews up by this point, but I just have not. I've not had the time to see movies in several weeks, and I'm falling really far behind on my movie watching. Hope to rectify that a little bit this week. Hope to catch up on a few, and yeah, I've just been falling so far behind. It's a little bit ridiculous. Sir Deadpool also says tax returns are coming soon. Yes, absolutely. Most of my tax returns is going to go to work my way out of debt. I got myself in financial trouble big time several years ago and have been slowly climbing out of debt since then. So most of my tax return is going to go out of debt. I would like to take a little bit of that money and invest it into my channel here. Depending on how big my return is will determine how much I can do that. If not, so be it. That's what the Patreon's for. That's, other upgrades will be coming later on this year. How's Hollywood Review says, hi buddy, Happy New Year's Eve. Happy New Year's to you, Russell. Glad to see you in here. And we will definitely be having a lot of collaborations and have you a frequent guest here on the live show this coming year. Sir Deadpool asks, what movie theater chain do you work at? I work at Marcus, which is a big theater chain here in the Midwest. They kind of have a monopoly here in the Milwaukee area. Great company. Can't say enough good things about them. I used to work for AMC. Again, another great company. Really enjoyed my time there as well. But right now, I am over at Marcus. Princess Peach asks, Jeff, have you thought about starting a vlog series, A Day in the Life of Jeffito? Sounds pretty sweet, right? That's what all the big influencers and content creators are doing right now. I kind of thought about that, but really, this channel is going to be focused on movies. And if I had the time to do a daily vlog kind of series, if I was going to create content every day, I would rather have that content be about movies every day. And that's the direction where I'd like to take my channel. Doing a vlog series like that, I lead a very boring life. Most of my life is getting up, showering, eating breakfast, going to work, coming home, eating dinner, watching YouTube, making videos, watching movies. That's pretty much it. So I'm not sure how interesting a vlog series would be. And that's probably not going to happen, but never say never. Lance Newman says, The Empire Strikes Back was released when I was 9 years old. That movie changed my life. Yeah, I was 4 back in 1980. But you're right, man. That movie was fantastic. For me, the movie that had a similar effect was Return of the Jedi, because I was 7 years old at that point, and I just fell in love with that. I consumed all the merchandise, all the action figures. I had the Return of the Jedi lunchbox, had the Return of the Jedi Battle of Jabba's Sail Barge board game, which was kind of cool, but also a little stupid at the same time, if you actually played the board game the way that the rules said. No, I was just all in on Return of the Jedi back in the day, and that was fantastic. Philip Michelson says, Jeff, I know that you said that you're not a gamer, but if you're ever in a better place financially, you should get a Nintendo Switch. Zelda Breath of the Wild changed my life. Very cinematic. Yeah, again, man, I'm not really a gamer. And as I mentioned, kind of not in the situation where I can afford to game or buy a new console or anything. I have heard good things about Zelda and Nintendo Switch and everything else. It's just that's not what I do. I'm not really into that culture anymore at all. Zach Pope, what's up, everyone? Zach, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you here. Fist bump, high five, all that good stuff. Just dropping in. Hope you guys all have a happy New Year's. Cheers to the New Year, Jeff and everyone else. Thank you, man. Philip Michelson asks, do you own any Funko Pops? I do not. That is one trend that a lot of people in my circle, in this movie YouTuber kind of sphere, have and are into, and whatever, a lot of their backgrounds show off their Blu-ray collection and then Funko Pops on top. I do not currently own Funko Pops. The closest thing I have is actually, hold on 1 second, I'll show you the closest thing that I have to a Funko Pop. 1 second. If I can get my headphones back on. The closest thing to a Funko Pop that I have is this giant size R2-D2, which is awesome. I love it. A friend of mine got this to me for Christmas a year or two ago. This thing is awesome. I love it. I have it up on my mantle, kind of looking over me. That's really cool. Sir Deadpool says Funko Pops are the dumbest waste of money. Nah, man, they're cool, says Philip Michelson. Yeah, I've just not gotten into the Funko craze. If I was in a better place financially, maybe I'd pick up a handful to display. But yeah, that's one thing that I've not gotten into yet at the moment. Philip Michelson says that's so dope. Yeah, I love this thing. Like I said, a friend of mine gave this to me for Christmas a year or two ago, and I absolutely love it. That is very cool. Let's get back on to what I was talking about. My main topics here, real quick. Sir Deadpool says, I would love to see a Blu-ray collection video. Actually, my Blu-ray collection is pretty tiny, actually. I ended up selling a lot of my DVDs and Blu-rays back in 2013. I think it was. Yeah, back in 2013, I was in really rough shape financially and ended up selling most of my Blu-rays and most of my DVDs just to try to make ends meet, try to scrape together some extra cash. I've kind of slowly been rebuilding my collection, but honestly, I mean, taking a look at my shelf, I really don't have that many. Maybe I'll do a Blu-ray collection video at some point in the new year. Unfortunately, most of my DVDs and Blu-rays are no longer in my possession because, again, now we're going on 5 years ago now. I was in really rough financial shape and needed to sell a bunch of things to try to get myself back out of debt and whatever. And Russell Howell says, just get them all at second-rate stores, cheaper way to build that collection. Yeah, I do, but again, right now I'm focused mainly on getting out of debt, and building up my savings account again and moving on with my life financially. So most Blu-ray purchases are kind of put on the back burner. I would love to get a new computer so that I can do more stuff here on my YouTube channel and everything else, but that's not going to happen much at all. Lance Newman says, are we going to talk about food in this live stream at all? You never know, man, especially if we go to midnight or after. I'm sure the topic of food will come up several times. Russell's from Howell's Hollywood Review says, really happy for the success that you've had, though, man. In all honesty, you are chasing your dream. That's what it's all about, man. I mentioned this a couple times, but I really have reignited a passion in talking movies and doing this here on YouTube, and just I've really found my passion and what I want to do with my life. That is fantastic. Finding that sense of purpose again is really inspiring and empowering, and I love it. Last comment here that I'm going to take before I go back to my regularly scheduled topics here. Sir Deadpool says,